Wait, hold on just a second right there. I think that this game is best experienced absolutely blind, so here's a too long, don't wanna watch version of this review to hopefully convince you to check the game out. The game is a point-and-click adventure game with horror elements. The game has some absolutely gorgeous pixel arts. The game tackles on some rather heavy things about mental health with very compelling writing. It's just short enough to be finished in about 2 hours. The game is available on Steam and it's free. Now go and check the game out. If you still wanna stay for the review though, final warning. I'm not gonna spoil the whole game, but I will have to inevitably show and talk about some aspects of the game that probably aren't visible at first glance, so please do proceed with caution. As mentioned earlier, If on Winter Night for Travelers is a point-and-click adventure game, so the gameplay is rather simple. You are put into rooms with objects or other NPCs, and by clicking on those objects or NPCs, you can interact with them and gain new information to proceed with the story. The game is pretty straightforward for the most part. You don't even have inventories to store items to use later. Characters will only pick up items when the plot tells them to, so they can immediately use said item to interact with other objects in the room. But just randomly clicking on things isn't all there is with the game. At some points in the game, the objects you interact will subtly give out hints to a puzzle that you must solve in order to proceed with the story, and I quite like most of these puzzles. Most of them are subtle enough that I wasn't able to pick up when I first saw them, but are obviously clues when I gave them a second look, made me honestly went a little aha whenever I figure out what I need to do next. But not all of the puzzles are perfect. Some require you to interact with some objects in a specific order, and if you mess up the order or interact with another object outside of the ones you're meant to interact with, you have to start the sequence again from the beginning, which can be somewhat frustrating at times because it's not always clear at first what you must do. Like, for example, there's a segment where I entered a room to look for an NPC to interact with, but the room I entered was absolutely void of any human being, so I had to randomly look around to find clues until I realized that I have to interact with the plants and bushes in a certain order. The game not being very clear about what I must do at times is made worse because of some of the pixel hunting aspects in the game. Like, for example, take this segment where I was supposed to interact with all the objects in the room to understand the situation I just got put in, but I got stuck for quite a while because my eyes didn't manage to pick up this one thing, this ball of yarn thing that not only looked very tiny in the middle of the room, but it also blended in with the pattern on the carpet, no thanks to the dark and dreary coloring of the room. All in all, the gameplay isn't exactly amazing or groundbreaking or anything. It does its job and has its moment of brilliance, but it also gives instances of frustration at times too. But the gameplay shouldn't be the thing that you want to play this game for. Instead, it should be... To say that the visual looks amazing is probably an understatement. It's been a while since I last see pixel art look as good as this. It's just full of details and rich with life and stories behind every pixel. And the sceneries can change depending on the mood of the characters too. Like when this character was in her depressed mind state, the environment surrounding her is painted in a very dreary atmosphere and everything just looks worn down and abandoned. But when she is in her happy mind state, the environment is painted with a very warm and vibrant color and everything is just beaming with life. The amazing visual complements the writing really well, which tacks on some really heavy subjects like anger, hatred, depression, guilt, and suicidal thoughts, and it gets pretty wild towards the end, not gonna lie. The game treats the subjects really seriously, and the stellar and imaginative pixel arts really highlight some of the more disturbing parts of mental issues that can't be easily expressed through just mere words alone. It really makes me can't help but wanting to keep playing to see what the story has in store for me, and before I knew it, the end credits stand before me and left me thinking, man, what a great game. I would love to talk more about the story and its stellar writing, but saying anything more would skirt dangerously close to spoiler territories, so I unfortunately have to stop here. You just have to take my word that it is really, really good. Feels kinda weird that I praised the visual and writing so much yet didn't end the video after that, but the review wouldn't be finished without talking about its soundtrack, or lack thereof. For the majority of the game doesn't have background music playing and instead opt to use ambient noises or the natural sound of the environment the player is in, like the bustling noise of a crowded city, the pouring down of an unending rain. When there is some background music going on, it's usually through some kind of music player, and it plays some kind of early 20th century-ish songs. I'm an uncultured swine, so I don't really like ambient noises, nor can I vibe to early 20th century songs, but I would be lying if I say I don't think it fits ridiculously well with the settings of the game, makes for a really immersive experience and elevates the overall game to much greater height. Though there is one song in the whole OST that absolutely blew me away, both because the song itself is really good and because the scene the song accompanies is a very powerful scene and is the absolute height of the game for me. In conclusion, If a Winter's Night for Travelers is a very good short game, which is extra impressive because it was created mainly by just 2 people, and you can really tell that was a passion project of them. Please do check the game out if you're interested. The game is totally free on Steam, and the only thing that you lost is the finite time you still have left in this world.